guys, thanks for joining. Video 14, week 2 complete out of 30 days. Thanks for coming along for the ride. It was good to have Seth with me for video 13. He's always fun to have around, always has some really valuable insight. He brightens a lot of people's lives. I got to thinking about the love that we were talking about, how developing love for people, finding the love within yourself, and brightening people's lives like he does, and like a lot of us try to do. And I got to thinking about how do we define or realize the love in our life. And I got to thinking about how I thought through each of the people in my life, and I thought about how many of them know that I love them. And I was very pleased to come to the conclusion that almost 100%, probably, nearly 100% know that I love them. And then I got to thinking about how, the first question for a lot of people might need to be, how many people do I love? We always want to be loved by people, but then people aren't our type of person or whatever, and it's harder to love them, to find something, some reason to, or something about them to love. And it's easier to just put it off or not even try. Not draw too many deep connections, because then that's more people that could let you down, more people that could hurt you. And living in that kind of lifestyle, that's kind of giving fear power in your life. Fear that they might let you down. Fear that they might, instead of empowering trust, that they won't let you down, that they will give you appropriate love, and that they can see your value and qualities the way you can try to see theirs. And so if we can try to find the love for ourselves first, and then look for that in others, things to love about them, try to validate other people's experiences and stuff the way we were talking about yesterday, then you'll just find that naturally, when you think back, how many people know that I love them? You'll have started the process of expressing your love, expressing your appreciation, your acknowledgement, witnessing of those people, and it'll be a higher and higher percentage every time, until eventually, when you think, well, how many people love me, or how many people do I love, that'll be a higher percentage. How many people love me, that'll be dramatically higher percentage too. And so they all go hand in hand, and they all grow by defeating that fear. I say defeating, but it's more like accepting the purpose of that fear, understanding why it happened in the first place, and how now that I've grown, I don't need to submit myself to that fear anymore. I don't need to be a victim of that fear mentality holding me back from loving people fully and witnessing their experience as fully valid, because I'm afraid they might let me down if I let them in, or maybe they contain traits that you have stood against, and that's your reason for not loving them. And that's fine. If you're not in a place where you can love somebody wholly, then being true to yourself about that is the first step. And then evaluate each of those points. Why can't I love them because of this aspect or that aspect? And eventually you'll find that most of those cases where you're withholding love from somebody because they contain a trait that you disapprove of, that you are able to understand why they've developed that trait, and see that they're just a human trying to figure their way through life, and they develop that trait because of this, usually fear. It's almost always fear, something traced back to fear that causes them to have an unhealthy trait that you disagree with, or an unhealthy trait in yourself that causes you to disagree with a trait that otherwise is really just fine for another person to experience and to have. And that if you fully heal, you no longer have to disapprove of them for that trait. You can just not incorporate it yourself if you don't want that trait, but be willing to see and accept the fact that that's the path in their life, and it's not completely a terrible thing for them to exist with. So anyway, I just love the fact that I'm feeling much more empowered as I go through my life, developing the ability to see and love people. That's why the channel's called Witness a Human Being, because I've learned how to witness humans being, because that's all we are. We're not human beings, we're humans being, like I've said. So get out there and be, and witness the being that other people are being, and love them fully. And if whatever you can't love, seek within yourself, why can't I love them for this? And if you're honestly at a point where you can't accept and love that, that's fine. You're whole and complete, even in your inability to love them fully. So they see me rolling, they hating. Nah, they're not hating. That would be a fear narrative to believe that. I'm not all about fear no mo. Fear's got no power over me. Because I've never witnessed a time where I feared something or hated something and it was fully valid in the end once I fully observed it, thought through it. And if anyone has an example that you feel like you're justified in holding on to hate or holding on to resentment or inability to love and connect in some way, then I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that and consider how I feel about that. What I think the process would be to resolve or to work through something. I just know that in most cases, except when somebody truly is, has chosen to go off the deep end where they can no longer connect with society at all, period. Even in those cases, you don't hold on to any negativity for your own sake, but you can fully release them. Anyway, there's healthy ways to deal with stuff. People think that they're healed until they realize how lonely or alone they are from being able to form those connective bonds. And then they realize, well, what could I do differently? What could I see from a different perspective? And some people never face that side of themselves, and that's fine. Not everyone's ready to. But if you are, if you're not, you're probably not watching my videos. But if you are, you're probably at least open to discovering a deeper side of your own emotional and spiritual, whatever you want to call it, capabilities. Anyway, I just love floating around the neighborhood. This is my office. Instead of sitting down at a desk, I've tried doing that. I tried sitting in my car. It never really fully opens me up to get the messages out that I want to. But this is my Zen zone. All right. You guys have a good rest of your time. Love y'all. Before I go, I'm going to chase some birds around the park. Well, I got you here, so let's have fun with that. Oh, look how beautiful that is. Wow. To be a part of that flock. All right. I've harassed them enough. Now they went inside the fenced area. It's fun though.